My friends, I wish you a very, very good morning. Lovely to have you with us again. Hopefully the sun is shining where you are, because it is the Mr. Dilly Meets Super Summer Story Fest to get you all inspired with some incredible books to read and take away with you, whether you're at home or on holiday this summer. Some amazing authors, amazing books, amazing stories, and lots of fun in an action-packed show coming up with you today. So this is our new feature, Book in a Blink, 15 seconds. And after this, magically, if I can do it all in time, all my guests will appear on screen. There we are, as if by magic. Give everyone a big, big wave. That's great. Lovely to have you on. So let's go through who we got today and give it a big, big shout. We have Jennifer Claessen. Big, big shout.
Hi.
We have Gabby Dawnay.
Hello.
We have Andy Shepherd.
Hello.
We have Truly Johnston.
Hello, everybody.
We have Lindsay Galvin.
Hi, everyone.
And we have Patrick Ness. Fantastic.
I feel my energy is going to clash, but I'll do my best.
There we go. This is brilliant. Now, Sophy Henn will be joining us later as a pre-record, in case you wonder where she was. Right. So listen, Jennifer, you got 15 seconds. So obviously, hold your book up to speak about your book, and in 15 seconds, you got to just stop. Okay. So can we just give Jennifer a nice round of applause? Give her a bit of encouragement. She's first off. Okay, Jennifer. So I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3, and then you go. Okay. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Netta, Becker and the Timeline Crime is really hard to pronounce, but it's about a girl called Netta, her brother Remy, and her mum and dad. And they go on their summer holiday and they go to the island of Crete. And as soon as they arrive on Crete, Netta starts...
Up. That's it. So it's Creta. And it's yeah, well, you got it. It's Crete. There's a character. We know it's a timeline crime. See, it's all good. You got the main things in there. Great. Okay. Gabby. Okay, Gabby. We're over to Gabby. Okay, are you ready, Gabby?
Okay, ready. Okay.
That's a very good start there, Jennifer. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Here we go.
A field guide to summer is a small book packed with summary stuff designed to take outside and inspire you to explore nature.
Time up. That's good. Lovely. Well done. That was very professional, Gabby. Very good. And within time as well. Very, very good. Okay, Andy, how you feeling? Good?
Okay,
good.
good.
Okay, here we go. Okay, you're doing very well so far. Very, very good. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Here we go.
Join the tree toppers as they venture into Wildtop Wood, where a driftwood horse roams, petal birds take flight, and living tree houses burst from the canopy. You won't believe what nature gets up to when you pay attention.
That's good as well. Look at very professional. Look at that was very good. Did you feel your heart going a little bit faster there, Andy?
You did. I've run a marathon.
I'm nervous. Okay, Truly, are we ready? Here we go. So 3, 2, 1, go. Here we go.
The Shell Keepers follows the journey of Corinne, a young mixed heritage girl from London. When her grandfather dies, they go to his home at the coast, and on the beach she finds an incredible shell with an even more incredible tiny girl inside. 1 week to save the beach, help the girl, and learn how to be a shell keeper.
There we I don't know why I haven't done this feature before. You're all like, on point. Very, very, very good. This is something I've just been missing for the last 2 or 3 years. Okay, Lindsay, are you ready to go?
Oh, the pressure's on now. Yes.
Oh, it's on now. It's building up to Patrick in a minute. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
In the Elixir, we are taken to the 1600s, where the young Isaac Newton meets an apothecary's daughter who has some very special powers. When the two get together, they create the elixir of life, but the witchfinder is in town.
Oh, we're slightly over. That might be there might be a minus point there, but I'll let you have that one. That's great. Okay, here we go, Patrick. Last one. Here we go. Ready? So 3, 2, 1, go.
The Hat of Great Importance is book 2 in the Chronicles of a Lizard Nobody series. 2 books. And in it, a lizard wears a hat.
That's what we're getting. There's a lizard with a hat. That'll do. Okay, round of applause. Patrick, straight in there. Okay, so listen, that's the end of Book in a Blink. Jennifer, you're going to stay with us, and everyone else, we speak to you in just a moment. So thank you very much for that. Okay, Jennifer, it's just me and thee. That's fun, wasn't it? I'll give you a nice big introduction, although you're with us. So Jennifer's debut, the October Witches, and its sequels, the November Witches and the December Witches, enchanted readers with modern Arthurian magic. Now, Jennifer returns with Netta, Becker, and I said that right, didn't it? And the Timeline Crime, a thrilling time-slip adventure set on Crete, as she mentioned. full of maze monsters, ancient kings, and race against time mystery. That's a good introduction, wasn't it?
You should have done my 15 seconds. That was brilliant. Thank you.
Let's have a little jump into your story a bit. So Netta's your main character in this, as you mentioned, and it's her dreams, as I understand it, drag her into the past, and her future self starts kind of fading as she does that. And I love that idea. It's great. How did you come up with the idea of, we've had time travel before, but the idea of sort of time literally sort of pulling her in, first of all, and why Crete?
Yeah, so what happens with Netta is that she starts feeling prickles all over her body and she doesn't know what's happening. She thinks she's hallucinating, but she is in fact traveling back in time. She's being dragged back in time. So it's time travel without her really giving consent. And it's because there is an unsolved crime. There is a mystery 4,000 years ago in the past that she has to solve. So she gets dragged back in time to solve that mystery. And the mystery is on the island of Crete. And I chose Crete because there are so many amazing myths there. So there's a few characters in here who you might well know. There's Theseus and his ship. There's Daedalus and Icarus, who had wings. You can just see them there on the front cover. And most importantly, there's Princess Ariadne and her father, King Minos. And he is an angry king and she is a rebellious princess. And Netta has to help all these characters.
King Minos, labyrinth monster. Everyone would have heard of the sort of the Minotaur and stuff. How do they add to Netta's adventure? Because what should readers sort of look for in the, as they go through that?
Yeah, good question. So this is the beginning of a trilogy. There's going to be 3 books, and they each follow one of the most amazing female characters from Greek myth. So this one is mostly about Ariadne, who in the original myth, no one quite knows what happened to her. She maybe became a constellation. She maybe had 13 children. No one knows. And so I find the female characters in Greek myths really interesting because we get kind of slightly less stories about them. And so my Ariadne is really fun, really funny, and she has to save the lives of 7 children, including Netta herself. There maybe is a Minotaur, there maybe is not a Minotaur. There's something in the middle of my maze, and it is a mystery. So hopefully, as you read the book, you'll be really excited to find out what is in the middle of the labyrinth.
It is actually, I hate that the spoiler is, a Victoria sponge cake. That's what I'd be hoping to find, but that's just me. What's a surprising sort of twist or moment in the story that you're excited for readers to discover? Any thoughts about that? What could you?
Oh, there's so many good ones.
Yeah, I know. What could you tease us? Tease us something.
Ooh,
I know.
I did loads and loads of research. I got really into my Greek myths and I did loads of research for writing this book, including some amazing facts. So the reason the book is gold and purple was because purple, they crushed up bugs to make this special purple dye. So only the very fanciest people got to wear gold and purple. That's why I'm wearing purple today. But things like the first flushing toilet, we think that was in Crete. And it's all about archaeology, what can be dug up. So we don't really know what was there at all. Was there a maze? Was there a dance floor? Was it both? We don't know. But there's loads of really cool kind of hidden gem facts about ancient Greece in here too.
Now we're going to hand over to you for a little 2-minute taster of Netta Becker. I've said that right, Netta Becker, isn't it? Netta Becker.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Netta Becker and the Timeline Crimes. Over to Jennifer for a little taster. So listen up. This is a great story.
King Minos spread his arms wide once more. Honoured guests, tonight we celebrate. Building work has shaken the foundations of this palace for many years. And you, my people, have been patient. This will be our first offering. But what's in there? Netta insisted, a surge of urgency coming out in anger. Ari frowned. The labyrinth, of course. Netta recognised that word. If zephyr was a fancy word for breeze, then labyrinth was one for maze. It's not just about the labyrinth itself, though. It's about what may be in it, Ari said. Netta had the strange vertigo sensation of tilting forwards that she sometimes had when she was standing up somewhere high. Part of her wanted to go straight into the labyrinth, though she was terrified of doing so at the same time. They stepped backwards, one huge door now open. It wasn't open all the way, just enough to admit the bull. If the doors were pushed all the way back against the walls, then perhaps 10 bulls could have gone through together. But it was the air that came out of the labyrinth which scared Netta the most. It was freezing, icily cold, and it shot straight through her, body or no. The bull must have felt it too, and it bucked, rear legs kicking straight up. 2 of the men flew through the air and smacked into the corridor walls. The 4 with knives stepped forward, surrounding the bull, pushing it forward, stopping it from rampaging loose through all these people. The last bull wrangler slid out just as the doors clanged shut. The reverberating noise was so loud that Netta felt sure she heard it with her real ears, 4,000 years away. The bull's screaming was cut off abruptly. It was gone. Why does it have to go into the tunnels alive? One woman behind Netta asked another. The thing that is in the tunnels, it wants to play with it before it feasts. It's part of some game, another answered. Our grand sacrifice is still to come, and tonight Crete feasts, Minos shouted, and the crowd roared their approval.
That's fantastic, and I love that. I love that cover. I love the gold cover. It's a wonderful cover. Really, yeah, really beautiful. Jennifer, great story, great book, and good luck with the whole trilogy. You'll be back. Jennifer will be back with a little bit of an author panel later on, and also we have our quiz later on in the show today as well. So Jennifer's just going to go off and do a bit of a reading about that.
I'm going to practice my bullhorn noise.
That's the bullhorn noise. You'll see why a bit later on. But for now, thank you very much, Jennifer Claessen. Thank you very much. Thanks very much. Okay, so let's going to go straight into my next guest. So let's welcome back. She's on the show for the second time. The wonder that is Andy Shepherd. Hello, Andy. How's it going?
Hello. Very nice to be here again. Thank you.
Fantastic. Now I'm going to give you a nice big introduction as well, Andy, although you're here. Here we go. Now joining us is the wonderful, I said wonderful, you got wonderful twice, Andy Shepherd, best known for her heartwarming and wildly popular The Boy Who Grew Dragon series. Her brand new series has begun, though, with The Wood Where Magic Grows, a treetop tale of green enchantment, sibling bonding, and the whispering woods that need your help. So welcome back to Mr. Dilly Meets. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
So The Wood Where Magic Grows, I loved it. The story starts with Iggy, who's your sort of one of your main characters, and his brother Cal discovering wild top wood at the bottom of their garden. What made you? I mean, I love trees, and I'm guessing you do as well. But what made you do trees and sort of tree magic as the sort of heart of this new adventure? After dragons, you sort of go to trees. What made you choose that?
I think it comes from my own. It's rooted in my childhood of growing up playing outside, and it's very much about the power of imagination to unlock that green magic that's growing around us. But I wanted it to be very accessible. Not everybody has countryside on their doorstep, but there are very few places where you don't find a tree. So, and for me, it's like it felt very easy to find characters in trees. I'm always finding faces in trees. So yeah, there's a lot of I've read a lot of books about trees and all the kind of science about trees actually talking to each other. That sort of fired my imagination, and then nature art. It just felt so magical. So yeah, it's sort of.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. I don't know much about this, but I'm sure I read. I'm sure you know about this more than I do because obviously your book. But they've sort of discovered I don't know if this was a different species of trees, but like if a tree is in a wood. They're sort of like at the underground roots connect it, and they sort of send sort of nutrients from one tree to the other tree if it's sort of dying or in trouble. Is that correct?
So there's a whole sort of what they call it, the wood wide web, and there are these all the roots and the fungus that grows on the roots, and they send messages to each other. But they can also release chemicals into the air. So I read this amazing book by Peter Voliban called The Hidden Life of Trees, and if there are acacia trees in Africa, and if they're being eaten by giraffes, they release a kind of a gas into the air which warns the other trees that they're being attacked, and then they pump toxins into their leaves that the giraffes don't like, and so and the giraffes actually then move upwind or downwind away, so that they go to trees that haven't got the message. So they're aware that the trees are talking to each other, which is fantastic.
Oh, I love that. That is amazing. Oh God, that is absolute. That is brilliant. So Iggy and Cal's relationship is a sort of a blended family sort of relationship. Why was that sibling bond between them and the family change sort of so important to your story, because that's kind of a real heart that goes right through it. So why was that so important to you, having that kind of dynamic?
I think when, you know, change is hard, and it brings a lot of challenges, but I think there's also one of those things that when things change, you look at the world differently. And you know, Iggy's come from the city to the countryside. His family's expanding. He's being challenged, but it's also making him look at things in a different way. And he grows through the story, and his relationship with Cal grows through the story. And it was just really lovely to kind of explore that, and how he felt about being a big brother, and also what he understood about what being a big brother meant, and what he learns about that. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. What
message would you like young readers to sort of take away after exploring this book and this story with Iggy and Cal? Any particular thoughts?
I think lots of children are just have a natural wonder about the world and are connected to nature, and I think it's just about encouraging people to get outside and see the green magic that's around us. You know, the book is very much about the fact that the magic exists in the wood, but it's about the children engaging with it, about play, about imagination, and that's what makes the magic grow and grow and grow. So yeah, I think if it encourages them to go out and do nature art and make petal creatures and stand under a tree, because one of the things I love is that trees all sound different. You know, if you stand under a tree, they all sound different. So, you know, go outside and find a tree and stand under it and get to know.
Andy, here we go, a little taster, the wood where magic grows.
Okay, so this is just from the very beginning of the story. And this is Iggy talking. Have you ever looked at a tree and seen a face staring back? Maybe you spotted a knobbly brow or a knotty pair of eyes, a bit of bark split in two like a mouth grinning out at you, or even a mossy beard. Well, next time you do, stop staring and say hello. I'm serious. I mean, not all trees are chatty, and some of them are far too grumpy to pass the time of day, but if they think you're really listening, you might be lucky. What you shouldn't do is ignore them, which is what I did at first. Although, to be fair, I knew nothing about wild green magic back then. I'd never even heard of it. I mean, have you? No, exactly. I expect, like me, you thought trees were something you stood under to get out of the rain, and flowers were pretty things that politely got on with growing and minding their own business. To be honest, I didn't think they even noticed what the rest of us were doing. But I was so wrong. You won't believe what nature gets up to, especially when you pay attention. Before all this started, I was like a teeny tiny seed, all curled up and waiting for the right conditions to grow. So let me tell you the story of how that little seed burst into life. And I'll just show you very quickly. So I've been finding faces in trees everywhere. So this is a tree near me that looks like it's been basically sort of startled and alarmed and is screaming in terror.
That is amazing.
And then I got this one, which is kind of quite a little cheeky tree. It's like, you know, it's trying to wave and get your attention.
It's like a sort of an evil ghost, that one.
Yeah, like. Well, and then, you know, and then this tree here. So I've loved finding all these trees. So I would love it if you know, readers went out and saw if they could find faces in trees.
There's a lot. Andy, thank you very much for that. So The Wood Where Magic Grows is out now. For now, round of applause. Andy Shepherd, thanks very much, Andy. Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving straight on now, and then we're going to bring all our guests so far back for some of your questions as well. So please welcome Patrick Ness back. Hello, Patrick. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
Really good, really good. So I'm going to give you a little introduction, Patrick. So next up, the one and only Patrick Ness, renowned for masterpieces like, and is actually Monster Calls and the Chaos Walking trilogy, and now dipping into middle grade with the hilarious Chronicles of a Lizard Nobody. Here to tell us a little more about that and book 2, The Hat of Great Importance. And the madness continues in this book with Fish Student, Salmon Coloured Hats, and Double Death Ray Attack. So fantastic to have you here, Patrick. So middle grade is a new sort of age group for you, as far as I'm aware. What drew you to create the Chronicles of a Lizard Nobody?
Well, literally, it's just the idea. literally the idea said it wanted to be middle grade. And so I figured my job as a writer is to say, great, absolutely great. It happened with Chronicles of a Lizard. I mean, with Chaos Walking trilogy, where it said it needed to be a YA trilogy, which I'd not written before. And I thought, great. And I think if you're a writer out there, I think that's what you need to do. You follow what your story needs to be, and don't care so much about age or genre or whatever. If the story needs what it needs to be, people are going to want to read it.
And why lizards in particular? Was it just to sort of, was there kind of some sort of reason, or have you got a pet lizard or saw someone?
No, it's a much worse reason than that. It's a much stupider reason than that. So as you said, the lizards in these books, they're called they're called monitor lizards, which is a type of lizard. You know, it's like Komodo dragons are monitor lizards. And in America, in schools, there's something called a hall monitor. So you see where I'm going. And I thought, well, if I wrote a middle grade book, it'd be called Hall Monitor Lizards. And that doesn't translate around the world. And I thought, that's just silly. You can't write a book for that reason. But then they started getting personalities, and they started getting a kind of sweetness and a kind of funniness. And I thought, oh my goodness, there's actually a real story here. There's a real thing that I really want to tell. And you don't turn down an idea like that when it comes. You absolutely write it. And so Hat of Great Importance, you know, he wears a hat. That's the whole idea. And it, you know, kerfuffle ensues, let's say. So the character's named Zeke, and he's a monitor lizard. He's a big monitor lizard. He's bigger than his friends, and his friends are Zeke, are Alicia and Daniel, who are smaller monitor lizards. And they have another friend called Miel, who they meet in book 1, who's a red-tailed hawk. And they discover that he's actually completely blind, but in no way does it limit him. And in book 1, they fight their arch nemesis Pelicarnassus, who's a pelican, and defeat him, accidentally destroying the school in the process. So book 2 picks up after the school's been rebuilt. And 2 things happen on the same day, which is that Daniel decides to wear a hat. But you'll learn about why that's an interesting choice. And a fish joins the school, which they've never met a fish before. And so, and then there's also a death ray of death, of course, because somebody always wants to kill them in a huge, massive way and destroy the town. So they have to stop that too. But then they also have to figure out how to stay friends when things are strained and all that. So yeah, it's a perfectly realistic story.
It is. It's the balance of life. And you got to navigate everyday things while dodging death ray threats. It's very. Is that your dog?
Yeah, she's downstairs. I think the postman is here.
Oh, is it?
Really does not like the postman. Yeah, I'm going to close the door.
But no, that's fine. Lovely little dog. There you go. Go away, dog. Lovely, fantastic. In this book, you work with illustrator Tim.
Yes,
Tim Miller.
We'll talk about him too. Yeah.
How did those illustrations really sort of help bring your characters to life? Was that how you envisioned them looking, or how does that kind of work in terms of that?
It's how I sort of envisioned them, but the cool thing about working with illustrators is I'm not an illustrator. I cannot draw for toffee. And so I bring ideas, but I don't know how to execute them, and I could never execute them particularly well. I'm good at words. And so I briefed Tim on what I thought the feeling of them was, and what I thought the tone should be, and what kind of comedy there should be. Like, Zeke goes through the principal's office, and the secretary is a bear who wears a bow tie. And it's just, I wanted him to give me something that I couldn't do. And that's what he did. And that's where it works so brilliantly, is that I'm bringing my best and he's bringing his best. And together we're putting something, bigger than both of us. Okay. Chronicles of Lizard Nobody, The Hat of Great Importance, which is book 2. It's chapter 1, which is called Daniel Wears a Hat. 2 lizards looked at the hat a third lizard was wearing while they all waited for the school bus. The hat was pink, though that wasn't the problem. It's pink, Zeke said to Daniel, who wore the hat. I like pink, Daniel said. I know you do, Zeke said, still staring at the hat, worried for no reason he could exactly put his finger on, though, again, it wasn't to do with the color. Daniel liked pink. This was known, much in the same way Zeke liked, say, potatoes cooked in any form. If you were going to wear a hat, he said, I would have guessed it would be pink. I know, Daniel said, still smiling. He turned to Alicia. Do you like it? I'd say it was more of a salmon color, really, Alicia said. And this is them waiting for the bus, and the bus driver is a shrew. It all makes sense. It totally, completely makes sense. I've never met a salmon, Daniel said. None of them had ever met a salmon. Fish were incredibly hard to meet. They had their own schools, and this is not a pun on schools of fish. Puns will not be tolerated here. Fish literally had their own elementary, junior high, and high schools. It's not a pun. Puns are the worst. But they had their own schools in their own neighborhoods, in lakes and rivers and the ocean. They were a whole other world. Why are you wearing a hat? Zeke asked, still uneasy. Don't you like it? Daniel asked, sounding worried now too. No, Zeke said. I like it. It's cool. Pink is cool. Or salmon, said Alicia. But, Daniel said, a little more observant than usual. Well, Zeke said, don't only birds wear hats? Is that a rule? Daniel asked, sounding genuinely curious. And at that, the three lizards paused. Because no, there wasn't a rule exactly. But there sure seemed to be a rule. Was it a rule if it wasn't actually written down anywhere, but was something that everyone knew anyway and acted like it was? Huh, Zeke said.
There we go.
Gosh,
Thanks very much, Patrick. That's great. And Patrick's going to stay with us because we have our Ask Her Author, and I'm going to bring back Andy and Jennifer, and we've got a few of your school questions for them all in a minute. So, but just for a minute, for his little section, round of applause. Patrick Ness, thanks very much, Patrick. Stay with us, and we'll be back in just a minute. Here we go. Ask the Author. Okay, so welcome back. All just a little mini panel for you. So fantastic. It's been really joy hearing about your books as well. So we've got a few school questions for you. First up today, we have Air Balloon Hill Primary School in Bristol. What do you love the best about being an author with a capital A there as well? So Andy, what do you love the best about being an author? Any particular thing?
Do you know what? It's actually hearing from people who read the books. I had a message last night saying about somebody's daughter who had read the books and was like, sharing all the things she'd learned about the dragons and following the whole adventure. And you can write in your room, in your own little world. And then when somebody actually comes up to you and says they've read your book, it's just the best feeling. It really is.
I bet it's also, they're also emptying into your mind, aren't they? It was quite amazing, really amazing.
Yeah, and they're bringing their whole, they're bringing their experience to it, and changing it in their way. So yeah, I love it. I love that.
Jennifer, anything else to add to Andy, or other thoughts?
Yeah, I think the same. I think I'm the least author, meaning I've got the fewest books. I haven't been doing this very long, so I've still got major imposter syndrome, and I kind of can't believe this is my job, but it was my dream job when I was a kid. I always wanted to be an author, and I never thought I would actually be able to do it. So I sit on my sofa like this, like I'm like a word squirrel. But I teach creative writing to lots of people, including lots of children who are 8 to 12, and meeting them is the best bit, and hearing their stories. I really love it when my writing inspires someone else to write, and I love meeting people who, like me, didn't think they could be authors, but actually of course you can. So that's, I think, the coolest bit of the job.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Patrick, what about yourself? Anything to build on that, or the same kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't have a boss, and that is just the best thing in the world. I have had bosses. I would much rather not have a boss, and this is just the best.
Do you find, though, even though you're working on your own, sometimes you sort of sack yourself and then give yourself the job back the next day? It's kind of that.
No. I'm a good manager.
Oh, yeah.
And I think my employee is doing a great job.
So that's great. That's really, really good. And John Fisher, Catholic College, Newcastle under Lyme. Thank you for your question. What is your favourite season, Andy? And just give us a season and why.
Spring.
Spring, and why spring?
Spring is it's the colours. You've been waiting all winter, and then suddenly there are these little shocks of colour. And it's that idea of new growth and new beginning and new start. And yeah, I love spring.
And light, I find it. Jennifer, what about you?
We're in summer, and this is very much a summer holiday book. So I love the summer holidays, of course, because there's no things like school and being on holidays. But I am an autumn girl at heart. I love when the leaves start changing colour, and there is something so magical about Halloween, Samhain, all of those kind of beautiful Halloweeny bits.
Patrick, what about yourself?
I'd say spring also. I grew up in America, but I've lived in England for quite a long time, and especially London. I have learned that the British are entirely incapable of interior climate control. And so spring is about the only season where you can walk outside and inside without sweating a pint of water every step you take. So I'd say spring.
Castledown Primary in Hastings, thank you for your question. How did school help you to become an author? Maybe it didn't, and this is the thing for you. So Andy, any thoughts about that?
I think I had a very good English teacher in secondary school who seemed to like what I wrote and encouraged me to write and reminded me that it wasn't about exams. So, you know, I had to jump through certain hoops for the exams, but that actually come and write what you want to write and let me see what you're going to write. So great. I think that really helped me.
Inspirational teachers are wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had lots of extra help with my reading when I was at school, and I didn't always pay attention very well. I think best when I'm walking and up on my feet and talking as well. So I'm not listening always, but I think that school libraries are so important, and I used to spend all my lunch times in our library, and it was kind of like a fun place to hang out as well as being full of books. But I feel like the books were going to get me anyway. You know, if you hang out in a library, the books are going to get you at some point. Yeah, even if they just like. So I definitely became a reader through having a really great, lovely, cozy reading space. So I love visiting schools where they've got great libraries. I think it's so cool that the library should be cool. And if the library's cool, then the books,
and you feel
you'll start imbibing the books somehow anyway.
It does. It kind of speaks to you. And Patrick, did it help in any way, or was there any inspirations from there?
Well, I took every possible opportunity to write fiction, even in maybe the assignment wasn't necessarily fiction. I took every possible chance, and I think that's what makes a writer, is lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of practice and doing it over and over again. I once wrote a chemistry paper, and this is absolutely true. I wrote a chemistry paper and turned it into sort of a parable about divorce. It was about bonding of atoms, and so I turned it into this fable. Got read out loud in class, so.
So listen, we're going to see you all again a bit later on for our quiz. Thanks very much for now, Patrick, Andy, and Jennifer. Thanks so much. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, so now we're going to go to our draw along. It's pre-recorded with Sophy Henn. It's about 5 minutes draw along. It's from her book, Mr. Big Fluff Rules, and she's going to talk a bit more about it later on. So get your, you just need a piece of paper and a pen. Here we go. Sophy Henn, draw along. Up you go.
Okay, well, now we are going to draw Mr. Big Fluff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing what appears to be, a moustache, okay, but it's quite high up on our piece of paper. Can you see? It looks like a moustache, doesn't it? It's not a moustache, it's his hair. But we're going to draw that up there. So we're going to start with those. So it looks like two birds, sort of two birds kissing, doesn't it? Oh, nice. Anyway, so we've got our moustache up there. So once you've got that in place, then we are going to draw. It's like the moustache is on top of a dome. Now, you're going to have to forgive me. It's been a while since I've drawn Mr. Big Fluff. There's a confession, isn't it? I'm drawing because I'm drawing book 4 at the moment, so I've got another naughty one to draw. Anyway, so we're going to draw these two curved lines coming out the bottom of our moustache like that, okay? So we're going to leave quite a lot of space. Then what we're going to do is at the bottom of those curved lines, we are going to draw that shape there. Look, we're going to do a curve and then a zigzag, zigzag, and then round. So can you see that shape there? So we're going to draw a curve, zigzag, zigzag, and then round. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Well, you know, the same, almost the same. It's never exactly the same, is it? It's never exactly the same. Right, so we've got those mirrored like that. Those are his little whiskers there. Okay, now we're going to jump and about down here, we're going to draw a little square. We're going to leave a gap. So we're going to leave a gap there and we're going to draw a little square here. Now, I often don't leave enough space, so we'll see if I have, won't we? So we've got a little square there. And then coming out of either side of the square, we're going to draw, it's like a triangle, isn't it? But the pointy bit is hidden behind the square. Can you see? It's like a triangle, but the pointy bit's hidden behind the square. So we're going to do one on one side, then we're going to do one on the other, because that is, of course, Mr. Big Fluff's bow tie. There we go. Marvellous. Now we're going to join up these bits to the sides of the bow tie like that. So I'm just going to draw my line coming down here, like that. I feel like I've thinned him out a bit today. There we go. There we are. Look, we've got our lines coming down like that. And now that's Mr. Big Fluff's head. That's the trickiest bit, to be honest. There we go. So we've got our head shape with his hair and his bow tie. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add his little body. And when I was drawing all of these characters, what I noticed was if I wanted them to look cute, and even though he's furious and a bit naughty, I still wanted him to look cute because I quite like the fact that he's cute but naughty. So we're drawing a little body because I exaggerate the size of their heads. It makes them look super cute. Now we've got the body. Now we're going to draw the legs. So we're going to do just a little line. It's got quite short little legs. So just draw a little line coming down from there like that. There we go. And then we're going to add 2 lines coming in from the side of his body at diagonals like that. But we're going to stop them just before, can you see, just before the end of that line there. Because what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line that joins up at the bottom of that line like that there. And then we're going to do 2 little lines to make his little feet. There we go. Ta-da! Marvelous. Now we're going to draw Mr. Big Fluff's arms. Now most of my characters in Happy Hills have sausagey shaped arms, but we're going to have his hands on his hips. So he's going to be like that. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw those 2 curved lines like that, but we're not going to join them up to his body. We're going to leave a little gap there. Because then what we're going to do is we're going to draw 2 more curved lines for his little hamster paws, like that. There we go. He's got his little, so he's like, ooh, he's a bit cross, isn't he? He is often cross, I have to say. Okay, so now we've got the arms, legs. Now we're going to add, oh, he's got a little fluffy white patch on his tummy, so we can do that by drawing sort of a little circle, but with zigzag lines. Now we're going to add his ears. So we're going to add those nice big hamstery ears. Now these are sort of like little teardrop shapes that come out underneath his moustache hair, like that. It's not a moustache, it is his hair. And then we're going to do the same on the other side, like that. So you've got 2 hamster ears, those lovely hamster ears they have. Now we're going to start on his face. And right in the middle of that face, we're going to draw his little nose. He has got a cute little hamster nose, but I did mention he was cross. So we have to draw his crossed eyebrows. Now these are like big ticks. Like we've drawn a big tick like that coming out just above his nose. We're going to start it and then we're going to go right to the edge. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So another tick like that. It's got his furious eyebrows. Eyebrows are so good when you're drawing your characters to give them a real sense of feeling, whether they're happy, sad, or cross. And he is definitely cross. And then we're going to add his little oval eyes like that. And then we're going to colour those in. So close, guys. Stick with me. We're nearly there. And then we're going to add his rather fantastic, there you go, rather fantastic moustache, which is just 2 lines underneath his nose. And when I draw them, I like to do it like that, and I sort of fade out to my pencil stroke. So we're going to have 2 little lines like that. And then we're going to draw his cross little mouth. And I often think when I'm drawing my characters, the smaller the mouth, the crosser they look. So cross little mouth. And of course, he's got his little hamster tooth peeking out. Oh, I mean, he tries to look tough. Do you think he looks tough? Possibly not. There we go. And then to show the finishing touch, to show he's standing on something because he can't fly, we just do a little bit of shading underneath. And that is how you draw Mr. Big Fluff.
Right, we're going to crack on now. We're going to welcome, thanks to Sophie there, more from Sophie later on, and Mr. Big Fluff Rules. We're going to welcome my next guest. It's Gabby Dawnay. Hello, Gabby.
Sorry.
Hello, you're here, Gabby.
Just pick the right moment to run for a quick glass of water.
That was very, very good. How are you, Gabby? I hope you're enjoying the show so far.
I'm very well. I really want to read all the books.
I know. It's incredible. It's amazing sometimes. Just a little burst gets your curiosity going. So I'm going to give you an introduction, Gabby. Here we go. So Gabby Dawnay is a poet and author and the creative mind behind the Field Guide series. You might already know her wonderful guides, the guides to spring, autumn, and winter, each one packed with seasonal crafts, lyrical poems, and nature facts inspired by the Forest School movement. And now her latest is a field guide to summer. So, round of applause Gabby Dawnay is here. So, Gabby, lovely to have you on the show. Your field guide series is about encouraging kids to, really get outside and engage with nature. What inspired you to create this series, and perhaps the field guide to summer in particular? And how does it kind of build on the other books that have already been there?
Okay, there is quite a definite story, actually. I wrote a poem that does appear in A Field Guide to Summer. And this poem was read by a teacher in a local school. And I saw this reading, and it was so beautifully read that I showed it to my editor at Thames and Hudson, Anna. And she came back and said, I want to turn it into a book. And then, in fact, we just talked about it some more, and finally it became from one poem, one book. It sort of got divided into a book about summer, a book about, so it's got lots of summer facts and activities and things to do to get you outside. Having a little book all about summer has kind of given us the space to explore and expand and encourage children to go outside, encourage everyone to go outside and do all sorts of different things. But it's also very sensory, so it's really to do with being in nature and sort of feeling it and seeing and looking and hearing and touching and experiencing.
Well, you mentioned the sort of inspired by the sort of forest school movement, and not all schools, but a lot of children will be familiar with the forest.
I forgot to mention that.
No, but they'll be familiar with it. Their school, went the forest school and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, that's really about sort of exploration and curiosity and discovery, outside and stuff. So with this book, if it was used as part of forest schools within school, or maybe just use the kids at home by themselves and stuff, what are they going to be able to discover to do kind of together if they're doing it in school, or by themselves if they're kind of just exploring at home or in their park or in their garden or something like that? So what are the two things they could do collectively and sort of individually? Have you got a couple of examples of that?
So maybe taking a notebook outside so that you can write little ideas and take notes of what you see. But there's also a treasure hunt in the books where you can search for signs of summer. So it kind of gives you an idea of certain things that you want to look out for. So it's a bee or some daisies or a particular bird, a stick, and it's things that you can find and mark off. So it's quite active, but it encourages you to look. And I completely forgot to mention the forest school aspect, which is a really big part of the inspiration.
Well, that's what I'm here for.
So thank you for that.
No, but it's a wonderful thing in schools, isn't it? It's very popular. It's increasingly grown over the years. As I said, some of the children watching it might do it. We're just going to head into part two. If you have to head off now watching and go to lunch or go to another lesson, this is a good point to do it. Gabby's going to kick off the next part two with a little reading from the book. And then we're going to our other guests. And we've got a tiny little Ask the Author. And then we've got our quiz coming up. It's a packed summer show today. So Gabby, stay with us now. We're going to part two. Then we'll have a look at the book. Here we go. Look at that. Fantastic. A nice jazzy introduction. I'll hand over to Gabby now to sort of show you a bit about how the book works and what's inside. Here we go.
Okay, so I'm going to read one of the introductions to the book. And I was talking about senses. So this really kind of explores a little bit more about how you use the book. So if I can just give you a quick look. The illustrations have been done by Doreen Brewers, and they are sensational. So every page on the book is absolutely covered with these beautiful illustrations that Dorian has done. This is a favorite page. Free Your Feet, which is all about going barefoot. Tree ID, so you can take this outside and identify some leaves. Wake Up, which is all about the birds. And Hungry Caterpillars, which is, anyway, that's just a quick glimpse inside the book, but this is kind of an idea of how you use it. So it's sensing summer, noticing nature's changes. The colourful signs of summer have arrived. There are bright flowers with sweet perfumes, busy insects, and leaves flourishing in every shade of green. Go for a walk and find a tree that's away from noisy roads and playgrounds. Stand with your back to it. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. What can you smell? Stand very still and listen to the sounds. What can you hear? Open your eyes slowly, as if you've just woken up. What can you see? Crouch down and touch the ground. What can you feel? Stretch up to the sky and lick your lips. What can you taste?
That's great, Gabby. So a field guide series are out now. Field Guide to Summer is the latest one as well. So do get yourself a copy of that. So Gabby, you're back with the author panel in a minute. And we're going to Trudy Johnston. So round of applause. Gabby, Dawnay, thanks very much, Gabby. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's put our hands together and welcome Trudy Johnston. Here we go. Truly.
Hello.
Hello, how's it all going? Good. I hope you enjoy listening to everyone.
Very much. I want to get out to the park now after Gabby's lovely poem.
I know, it's
Nice.
just amazing. It kind of just really gets in you. I'll give you a little introduction, Trudy. Here we go. So, my next guest, Trudy, here brings us a magical tale full of sunshine, sand, and the tiniest secret world you can imagine. Here to speak more about her enchanting debut novel, The Shell Keepers, which this is pretty amazing, won the Bath Children's Novel Award, but before it even hit the shelves. That's pretty impressive. Please welcome Trudy Johnston. So I'll give you a really big round of applause. Fantastic. What inspired you to write about this sort of hidden seaside kind of world? Is that something that's from your childhood or just sort of came to you while you're out on a beach? Or what was the inspiration for that?
It was so when I was growing up, I had grandparents that lived down at the coast in Portsmouth. And all my holidays we would visit them or we would go to the seaside at Clacton. And I think when you speak to anybody, they've got a favourite seaside and it immediately conjures specific memories of the sights and the smells. And when my nephew was small, I started writing shorts, like little stories for him. And I had this idea of being on the beach. I always used to make up so many imaginary games when I played on the beach. And I thought, what if you picked up a shell and there was something more than just a little animal inside? And then that idea and the world of the demiconch, which are the name of the people that live in shells, began to grow and expand and become this story that I couldn't really stop.
It comes across, it's a wonderful thing. So the shell keepers are so sort of unique and stuff. Can you tell us a bit more about them and what makes their world so kind of special and so fragile at the same time?
So the demiconch, excuse me, the demiconch are small people who live outside of human sight, in shells, kind of either on beaches or they sail the tides. My incredibly talented brother-in-law made this model of a demiconch chalet, which I take to schools with me as well to try and help us understand what that would look like. So I created really a whole world of the demiconch. They exist to kind of help protect the balance in ecosystems. Because they're so small, they can work with nature on quite a different level. And they know that everything is connected. Every part of an ecosystem is connected. So when they sense that something is out of kilter, it's their kind of job to go and help redress that balance. And they work with nature to do that. And some things they need human help. And that's where shell keepers come in. So shell keepers are the only humans that can see demiconch. And they pledge to work with them to help protect the balance in ecosystems. They've been around for as long as we have. And they speak their own kind of specific type of English and language. Yeah.
I love that model. That's absolutely beautiful. That is that is fabulous. I love that. That's incredibly talented to make that as well. You've got to mention this already, sort of environment stuff, but the theme, there are things in there of a belonging, which are actually quite a few of the authors' kind of books, sort of belonging and sort of identity and that sort of stuff. Those things are belonging in the environment and sort of woven into the story. Why were these important to you while writing the story? And was that something that you were thinking about beforehand, or did it just sort of come about naturally as the story was kind of coming out of you, as it were?
It's been really interesting. Been really interesting to work through that, actually. In terms of belonging, I'm mixed heritage. So my mum is from Sri Lanka and my dad is English. When I was growing up, I was an avid reader and loved reading. But there weren't really any characters that reflect that kind of experience of living with two cultures. So when I started writing the book, I consciously decided I wanted to have a protagonist that had those two cultures. So Corinne she's mixed English and Sri Lankan and Scottish. And this theme of kind of connecting across difference is quite key. So she experiences those two cultures. It's just part of her life. It's completely normal. It's not a big thing in the book, but there's something there about how she then relates to the Democonch, which are a really different type of people. I've always cared about the environment, and it felt quite natural that it was something that Corinne would care about too. And so I think this idea about, you know, us all finding our place in the world around us and feeling connected to it links really well to then how we communicate with the world with that around us and get that sense of belonging. So I feel like the two themes are quite connected as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, absolutely. Belonging to, you know, the planet, each other, the community we're in. Just very quickly, you kind of mentioned this sort of in a way, but it's a very sort of summary book, obviously, and it works as this is a summer show. Look at that. Who would have thought it? I know. So do you have a favorite sort of seaside memory that might have, it might be separate from the story, might have found its way into the story in some way or another? Is there a little favorite one you can share with us?
When I was younger, our summer holidays were getting a caravan at Clacton, and I remember being with my friends there and burying myself in sand from the waist down and shaping it into a mermaid tail and drawing little scales on it. And that was me as a mermaid on the beach. And so,
digging holes in sand. Yeah, we used to make great big castles and everything. Watch the waves come and knock them all down. It was brilliant fun. Are you going to give us a little taster of the Shell Keepers? So here's a little 2-minute taster.
This is when Corinne first finds Cowrie on the beach. As she stared at the sand, the colour began to shimmer and shift. All of the shades of yellow, grey and mottled brown seemed more vibrant, the sunlight brighter. She blinked and looked up to see what had changed. But the sky was the same, with little puffs of cotton wool cloud drifting by. She jiggled her finger in her ear, swallowing firmly. Were her ears blocked, or had the sound changed as well? The voices nearby were quiet and muffled. Corinne rubbed her ears, confused. A curved shape in the sand caught her eye, and she walked compulsively to it. Her eyes widened as she got closer. It was a beautiful, perfectly formed conch-like shell, glistening in the sun. This was no normal shell. It was much larger, almost exactly the size of her whole hand, just like the treasure that she'd found by the Thames. It was yellow, orange, and red, ingrained with deep brown stripes. Its satisfying smooth curve tapered to a delicate spiral at the nose. Perfect. She reached to pick it up and her hand froze in midair. What was that? Was it a mouse? Her thoughts raced to process what she had seen. The same quick flash of movement she'd seen at tube stations darting beneath the rails. But there weren't mice on beaches, were there? She mentally ran through her list of beach animals, crabs, lugworms, sandhoppers, sanderlings. Then she saw it again, a flash of movement behind the shell. Corinne knelt down and lowered her chin to the sand so that it was level with the shell. A very small face peered out from behind it. A very small human face. Corinne breathed in sharply and blinked. The face gasped too and disappeared. No, come back, Corinne called under her breath, not expecting the creature to respond. She laid her foreheads on her hands. What on earth have I just seen? She lifted her head again, and there in front of her was a tiny, human-looking girl, smaller than the shell, staring right back at her. Hoi, the girl said cautiously. Speak ye.
A round of applause. Thank you very much, Truly Johnston. Thanks very much, Truly. Lovely to speak to you. Okay, now it's my last live guest, and she's been waiting a long time. I hope she's all okay. My last guest, Lindsay Galvin. Here we go, Lindsay. There we are. Here we go. Thanks for your patience. It's a long show today, so thank you so much. So, the Elixir. So I'm going to give you a little introduction. So, here we go. This is good. Hold on to your potions and notebooks. There we go, because we're heading back in time. Next guest, the author, Lindsay Galvin. Her latest, The Elixir, is a thrilling blend of science, secrets, and a touch of danger as well. Your story, like a lot of your stories, they combine real history and real figures with sort of myths or magic and stuff like that. What drew you in this one to 17th century kind of England, and how did, you might have to explain who this is for some of the children, how did Isaac Newton end up in the book?
Yes. So after I wrote my book, Darwin's Dragons, which was my previous story, I was actually researching what other famous scientists had anything interesting going on when they were younger. And I discovered that Isaac Newton, and he's the guy that figured out about light, how it was made of different colours coming together to make clear light, And he also figured out about gravity in his later life. But when he was young, he was actually staying above a apothecary shop in a town called Grantham, just an ordinary place, while he went to school. And I suddenly started thinking, famous scientist, apothecary, how could those two things combine? I read a little bit more and I discovered that Isaac Newton was actually really interested in alchemy before he moved on to more general science. And alchemy is the change of base metals into gold, and also includes making things like the Philosopher's Stone and the Elixir of Life. So that's where the idea came from.
That's amazing. That's really fascinating. I love these things. So they're things you don't know about people, then you find out and go, oh, they were doing that. And your main character in this is, and she's a can I say this? She's a healer. Can I say that? I can say
yes.
That. Yeah. How did you? This is another element to it. How did you research historical medicine in this? And what was kind of like a couple of really surprising things that you discovered in your research about that? Anything at all?
Oh my goodness. I've actually written a couple of books that have had historical medicine in them, because I also write books for Big Cat Collins as well. And I don't know if it particularly comes up in this book, but they were really interested in using sheep's poo a lot in historical medicines. Sheep's poo, goose poo, goat poo. Often they would mix them with honey. Sometimes you would eat them and sometimes you would drink them. But really, I discovered that in this particular book, I use a lot of the different herbs that would have been used, and some of them were really actually genuinely useful, and some of them wouldn't have done an awful lot except be a placebo, making you believe they were going to get you better. But we've had a lot of research done now that says that placebos, which make you believe you're going to get better but don't actually do anything, are actually very effective, because a lot of healing is in our heads. So if we trust a healer and we take something, it can make you feel better, which is
Isn't
why
that weird? I know.
Well, a lot of the medicines wouldn't have done anything very good to people, but they would make them feel better.
Make them feel better. Oh, I've had that, so it's all good. I've had the leeches. I look into that in the history.
Yeah, because the apothecaries were kind of in opposition to the doctors, who were more into leeches, more into bleeding, much scarier things, whereas an apothecary is going to give you herbs, which is more likely to be less unpleasant.
Yeah, I prefer a herb to a leech. I don't know about you. It's just one of those things. We can do a poll on that later on. Herbs, leeches. You know, where you want to go. Your stories have a very rich historical detail and incredible sort of research that kind of runs through them, and makes the worlds, even though you touch on myth and magic, very, very, very real, because obviously the background is very, very real. Why do you think, because we've had this a little bit with Jennifer earlier on, but why do you think readers enjoy being sort of transported into the past? What's the thrill in that sort of sense when they're reading a book like yours?
Yeah, it seems to be that readers love to feel like they're transported into a different world than our own, but the past is like a different world, but also it was real. So it's kind of like fantasy, because anything we know about the past we can't be sure about anything in the past. So there's an element of mystery, and there's also the fantasy of being somewhere totally different. And often I think that there's quite a few things that are quite scary and risky and adventurous about the past. And I think that really, really appeals to readers. And also it's true. It's like a fantasy that's true.
Yeah, and you get to see how people kind of behaved in that time, which is different from how they behave now. But for better and for worse, isn't it, in both things? So listen, let's give us a little taster, not a natural, real taste of the elixir, of course, but a taste of the reading of the story.
Thank you. So this is where the young Isaac Newton, who's around about early teenage or around about 12, we don't know for sure, he first starts chatting to Anne, my main character, who is the apothecary's daughter. Newton turned to me, his head on one side. So you see colours in people. It was the one thing my grandmother had said I must never talk about. But it had been so difficult to keep that secret. My words rushed out like a cork had been popped. I hadn't realised how much I'd wanted to tell someone. I described how when I touched people, I saw their colours in my mind. When I knew the colours of my customers, I could recognise when a hue was missing and find the mixture to restore them. I also explained how ingredients that matched a person's colour nearly always strengthened them. Newton rested his chin on his hands, listening carefully. This reminds me of another branch of alchemy, the elixir of life, he said. It can cure all ailments and even prevent death. The church said only God could prevent death. What Newton was describing would be viewed as against the natural order of things. I thought of the witch finder, Abel Geach, who was still in town. Newton and I began our work on the elixir the very next day. The first mixture we made was brown and foul, and the second combination was grey and cloudy. We ground our ingredients finer, used a gentler heat, distilled over and over for purity. The colours became so vivid, they made my head hurt. And there's some excellent illustrations by Christina Kister there, showing Newton and Anne together making the elixir. I've got a little bit more to read. We stayed up all night and my eyes blurred. I scalded my wrist when the tincture boiled too fast. The blister was circular like the full moon. Newton wanted to give up, but on the last try the colours combined to a mixture pure as water. It was impossible that the richness of colour could become completely clear like this. It gave off a wisp of vapour even when cooled. Could this be our elixir of life? And there it is.
There's the question we're going to leave it with. Could that be the elixir of life? You'll have to read the book and then you're going to find out. Now, Lindsay, the elixir is out now. There we go. You're going to stay with us. We got a few school questions and we're going to ask the author and bring back Truly and Gabby as well for a few questions. And then we're all on for the big finale with the big quiz. So round of applause for now. Lindsay, Galvin, and the elixir's out now. Let's go to ask the author and bring back our two other guests. Okay, here we are, all back again. Just start. Hollyfield Primary School, Birmingham. Thank you for your question. How did you feel when your first book was published? So, Gabby, how did you feel?
Absolutely, like as happy as I could possibly feel. Happy to bursting, and sort of, yeah, it was the best feeling ever.
Okay, Truly, what about yourself?
Well, I'm really fresh because this was only published last week, so I'm still walking on clouds with it. So it feels like so many brilliant birthdays in one.
Oh, I like that. So many brilliant birthdays in one. And Lindsay, what about yourself?
Well, I took about 6 years to get my first book published. So when it actually was published, I couldn't believe it. I felt like in a state of disbelief, so much so that I just kept thinking when I actually went to the factory to see it being printed, and I just kept thinking, is another book going to come out instead of mine? Because I can't believe my book has been published.
Oh, they're wonderful answers. Wonderful answers. Okay. Here, this is a really hard one. And if you can answer this one, this is great. This is a great question, though. Redwell Private School, Wellingborough. What is your utmost favourite word of all time and why? Gabby, what's yours?
Okay. The first word that pops into my head is not my favourite word of all time, but I do love this word because the word is cotyledon and it's part of a plant. And it makes me smile because my best friend at school used to sort of torture me by whispering this word cotyledon in my ear because of how our science teacher pronounced it.
Oh, that's very, very funny. Cotyledon. Truly, what about you? That's really funny. Truly.
I'm going to use a word that is actually my favorite word of all time will probably be different tomorrow and different days. But right now, I think because I've been talking about the Democountry a lot, I made lots of words for them, and one of their words is Brighton Song, and that's their word for a party. and I took them and conch words from Old English, and so the word to brighten is like to celebrate something.
I love
And
that.
so I feel like I kind of want to call parties that now, like Brighton song. It just feels like a nice way to
Oh,
celebrate.
that is lovely. Yeah, I really like that. That's great. And Lindsay, any particular ones for
Oh,
you?
that is so nice. Brighton song. That is
Isn't
adorable.
Yeah.
I think I'm bringing down the mood here, Mr. Dilly, because I was going to say one of my favorite words is catastrophe.
Oh,
I
sorry.
love that
Yeah,
word.
yeah.
Catastrophe.
Catastrophe.
I always think of it when I'm writing my books. One of my questions I ask myself is, yeah, but what's the catastrophe?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
if
sure,
I've got
yeah.
one, I feel like it's not got true meaning for the characters. So
Well, that's very, very fun. That's pretty good. Here we go. This is we're gonna have two more quick questions for you. So this, as it's a summary one, St. John Fisher Catholic College, Newcastle under Lyme. Thank you. What is your ideal summer holiday? Give it. I tell you what, we'll do it in 3 words. You got to say it in 3 words. This, that, and that. Okay. So truly ideal summer holiday.
Ice cream, ocean, family.
Fantastic. Gabby.
Family, ice cream, ocean.
There we go.
We need to go on holiday together,
Oh,
Gabby.
this is great. Here we go. And Lindsay.
swimming, history, fun.
That sounds brilliant. Okay, one more question for you. This is, here we go. St. John Bosco Arts College, Liverpool, thank you. If there was only one children's or young adult book that you could read for the summer, what title would it be and why? You can't choose your own. Okay, so Lindsay, what title would it be and why? Any thoughts? Could be an old one, could be one from your childhood that you loved.
Oh, one book I can read for the summer.
Yeah, if you could choose one that's a children's or a young adult book.
Really, I can't choose one. Oh my goodness. I really like the sound of Trudy's shell keepers. Oh my goodness, that sounds adorable. So I'm going to choose that.
Do that, Trudy. Now you've got you under pressure now, Trudy.
Yeah,
Actually,
and I would be very happy to
Totally
read it.
Yeah, go on then.
It's a good way to do it. Yeah, there are so many in my to-read list. The ones I've heard about today, I think, are going to be added to it as well. And I would really love to read. I think there's one out at the moment, or from last year, called Nush and the Stolen Emerald by Jasmine de Balan, which is upstairs, and I know I'd like to read it. So yeah.
That one. And lastly, Gabby.
Okay, so I genuinely want to read all the books I've heard about today because I think they sound absolutely brilliant and all really different but sort of connected somehow. But the one book that popped into my head was Watership Down, which was the first actually adult book that I ever read. And I was thinking about it recently, and I just want to read it again because it's been a long time and it's a really amazing book. And
amazing, but oh dear, gets you, that one, doesn't it? Does really, really get you. So it's a wonderful, wonderful story. Stay with us because we're going to bring all the other guests back in just a moment. Here we go into our quiz. Okay, all the gang are here again. Okay, so thank you very much for staying with us and keeping with us to the end. So we've got a quiz. So we're going to quickly run through very quickly. All our authors have got some fantastic buzzer sounds. I say fantastic. I think probably some are better, some are better than others. But let's see if we can hear them. So they're going to hold them up, and then we're going to go through it. So in your classrooms, you can just shout out the answers for fun, or you can get into pairs quickly, or you can just literally write down the answers if you want, and then I can. Once I write down the answers, and then you can see how many you got right. Just for fun as you go through it all with our authors today. So let's hear the buzzer sounds first of all. So Lindsay, buzzer sound, please. That was good. Okay, truly buzzer sound. Pretty impressive, isn't it? Okay, Jennifer, buzzer sound.
Because there's a bull in the book, we're going to go with that.
That's excellent bull work. Very, very good. Okay, Andy, buzzer sound.
Yeah, and because Wellington the pig is in my book, so.
You're brilliant, fantastic. Gabby, buzzer sound.
I've got a bell.
You see? It's impressive. Impressive. Okay, and Patrick, buzzer sound.
I am really letting the side down. I've just got an angry stapler.
I've got that. No, here we go. So get ready for this. So what we do is I'll ask the question. The question will come on the screen. The rules are, and this is the same for the children playing, is you have to let me get to the end of the question before you can buzz in with your answer, okay? So here we go. Question 1 coming up now. What fruit is famous for being big, juicy, and perfect for summer picnics? Is it A, banana, B, watermelon, C, kiwi, D, tomato? Oh, it's all coming at me. Okay, I think you can all do this together at the same time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Watermelon.
There we go. I'll give you all 1 point for that, just to get you all started off. So give yourself a round of applause. That was a very tricky one to start with there. So watermelon. Okay, here we go. So question 2 coming up. Another summer themed question for question 2. I'm already proud of you all. You all done great. So here we go. Question 2. What do you hear if you hold a seashell up to your ears? A, music. B, the sea. C, a whispering crab. Or D, nothing. I think that might have just been Truly just in there at the beginning. Truly, what do you hear? You do indeed hear the sea. Well done, Truly, there. So that was just pipped in there for Truly. Okay, question 3. And I can't remember where this actually comes from. This is a fact, and I should have actually researched where it comes from, but it is where you see what's going on. Here we go. Question 3. True or false? The world record for the largest ice cream cone is over 3 meters tall. True or false? Patrick.
It's got to be true.
It is true, Patrick. Well done, Patrick. Another point for Patrick there. Very, very good. Okay, that's a lot of ice cream on the ice cream cone. Okay, here we have a book-related sort of summer theme question for question 4. Remember, I've got to get to the end of the question before you can buzz in. Here we go. Question 4. Which famous summer book features an island, buried treasure, and a character named Long John Silver? Is it A, Peter Pan, B, Treasure Island, C, Swallows and Amazons, D, Captain Underpants? Or that could have been all of you at the same time. Again, so here we go. So hopefully we get this right. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Treasure Island.
Treasure Island. A point for each of that. So well done. You're all doing very, very well. Okay. This nearly in this halfway point, we have Patrick and Truly just on the lead by 1 point above everyone else just at the moment.
Ow!
Okay. That can all, I don't know. I told you. Okay. But that can all change. That can all change. Okay. Here we go. So question 5. Here we go. Come on, people. What do sunflowers do during the days? A, go to sleep. B, spin around. C, follow the sun. D, hum quietly. Oh, I think that could have been possibly Jennifer just in there with the cow sound or bull sound. Bull, not cow.
I think they follow the sun.
They do indeed follow the sun. So 3 for Jennifer. That was very, very good. But yeah, I know you're all in there very, very close. Question 6. We've only got this question and 2 more, and then we're at the end of the quiz. Okay, so question 6. Which book starts with Mole spring cleaning his house before heading to the riverbank for a summer adventure? Is it A, The Secret Garden, B, Watership Down, D, C, The Twits, D, Wind in the Willows? Yes, all together now. You've all got that. What was it?
Wind in the Willows.
Wind in the Willows.
That's very, very good. 1 point each for that. Okay, 2 more questions, and then we're at the end of today's quiz. Here we go. Question 7. Which of these is a real children's book? A, The Bear Who Went Bonkers at the Beach. B, The Chicken That Served the School. C, The Snail in the Way. Or D, The Pineapple Who Became Prime Minister. And again, you're all in there with that. And the children are shouting out. They know the answer to this one. Which one is it, please?
The snail.
Okay, I would love it if one of you said the pineapple who became prime minister, but it is indeed the snail and the whale. Very, very good. Okay, and the last question today, it's probably the dullest question on there, but it's a question about summer. Here we go. What does SPF on sunscreen stand for? Is it A, superpower formula, B, sun protection factor, C, sandproof finish, or D, summer picnic fun? Oh, I think that could have been Jennifer there. I think Jennifer could have just been in with the...
I think it's B, sun protection factor, but I've never thought about it before.
It is actually B, and I've never thought before. It is actually B, sun protection factor. And that is the end of our quiz today. So well done all. You did very, very good. I'll give you the scores. Okay, so we have, it's pretty good. So we have, with 4 points, I don't know if this is actually true or not. So don't worry about it. We have Andy and Gabby with 4 points. We have Patrick and Truly with 5 points. And we have Jennifer with 6 points. Give yourselves all a big round of applause. Well done, everybody. Fantastic. This has been a joy having you all on today. Thank you very much for all coming on. Good luck with all your books. Have yourselves a wonderful summer. Is there any, just going from, we're going to go from Lindsay first, little words or summer wishes or whatever you want to leave any of the children with? So Lindsay, any last words from you, Lindsay?
Read in the shade, guys, and love it.
Fantastic. That's true. Lindsay, thanks very much, Lindsay. Gives a big wave. Lindsay's gone. Very, very good. Truly, what about yourself?
Have fun and keep your eyes peeled for magic, everybody.
Fantastic. Thanks, Trudy. Thanks for being on. Okay, Gabby, what about yourself?
I'd like a big shout out to the children of Griffin Primary who did inspire this book.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Gabby. Nice to have you on. Thank you very much, Gabby. And we're going to have Andy.
Yep, get outside, explore the green magic. And I'm a big fan of audiobooks. So if you're not into reading under a tree, then sit and listen to a story under a tree.
That's brilliant. Thanks very much, Andy. Thank you very much. And we have Patrick. So what about you, Patrick? Any final words?
This is Oreo. She was upset by the stapler, so I'm just letting her say hello.
Oh, look at bless her.
Have a good summer.
Thanks very much, Patrick. Round of applause for Patrick. Thank you very much, Patrick. And last but not least, we have Jennifer. Any final words?
Thank you so much, Mr. Dilly, for having me on. Happy summer, happy reading, everyone. And if you feel prickles all over your body, it might be time travel. Be careful. Be careful.
And everybody, go and get yourself a golden cloak now. Very, very important for that. Thanks, Jennifer. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so that was brilliant. That's all our live guests today. We do have Sophy Henn coming up now for our little chat about Mr. Big Fluff Rules. Over to Sophy for that. Here we go. Sophy, round of applause.
Thank you so much.
So your latest book, well, tell us about it. Hold us up. Let's have a look at it. And tell us about this one.
That's the cover of it. It's Happy Hills, and it's the third in the series, Mr. Big Fluff Rules. And in case you haven't seen the others, there's Attack of the Giant Danger Kittens, and of course the classic Knickknacks attacks. But the latest one, Mr. Big Fluff Rules, as you can see there, we've got Mr. Big Fluff, who is a grumpy hamster, with his sidekick Johnny Tinkles.
Mr. Big Fluff, as far as I can understand, he wants to steal happiness from your characters and stuff. So he's a super villain, but also he's very unhappy. So just tell us a bit about Mr. Big Fluff.
Yes, so Mr. Big Fluff, he has lived a life of crime, but he's realised that while he has lived this life of crime, he's acquired all this stuff. It hasn't made him happy. So he has a chat with his sidekick, who, Mr. Big Fluff, in case you haven't gathered, I think I've mentioned it, is a little hamster. And his sidekick is a ginormous cat called Johnny Tinkles. And Johnny Tinkles points out to him that there is indeed a place called Happy Hills, and maybe he could find his happy there. But of course, Mr. Big Fluff, he's quite a grabby sort of a character. So he feels that he needs to steal the happiness, because that's what he's done forever. So he sets about trying to steal the happy. And of course, our zany gang, it's up to them to defend the hills in a variety of different styles of battle. So we go through sort of a sci-fi version. There's westerns. There's the whole shebang.
It's the whole shebang in there. And also you got Johnny Tinkles. That's a great name. Johnny Tinkles. One of the common questions obviously from children is who writing their own stories and stuff is, how to sort of making a start, but obviously sort of like, any research they could do for their own stories and stuff. Well, what did you do, or what did you work on this? Have you got anything to sort of show us there about that?
Oh, yes, well, I have. And the thing is, because I've always made comics, but sort of shorter comic strips. So while Pizazz is half and half, it's half comic, half fiction. These are my first comic books. So I sort of made up my own way of doing it. And
let's have a look, yeah.
And so this is actually the flat plan. So this is how it all starts, is just each of these little boxes here, you can see them printed. Each of those is a spread in the book. And a spread is what we call 2 pages like that, double page. Oh, that opened on a good one. And yes, so each of those is a spread. So there's 80 spreads, and I just plan it out like that. But I lie all these pieces of paper out along the floor, and then I get my Post-it notes and I work out what's going to go there, where, move stuff around, and I get it so I'm happy with it. And then once I've done that, I will then draw it. Now this is book 4. Ooh, there we go. So sneak peek. So then I will hand draw, can you see that there? All the spreads and scribble in the notes. And then I draw it up, I ink it up nicely. I'm trying to find a nicely inked, there we go, like this. And then I colour it in on my computer. But you don't need to colour it in on your computer, you can colour it in by hand. So, but also in the characters, they take a while to draw. I never get there first off. So I just found these actually. So here we have the original scribbles for Johnny Tinkle. There's Johnny Tinkles. Mr. Big Fluff, because I wanted him. He was maybe looked a little bit like Marlon Brando from The Godfather on some of them. But yes, and then you can see him slowly emerging through the pages of my sketchbook. And he went all kinds of places. He's getting close there, isn't he? Look, he's a bit...
Just two things. One about the post-it note things, which is a great way of organising things. And quite a few authors do that, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great method because also the Happy Hills books, they're lots of smaller comic strips. So it's like there's one big long story that runs through, but it's interspersed with lots of different little funny stories. So there's a lot to manage, as it were. But I find it works even with a picture book or with Pizazz or like a linear narrative, because you might want to move certain points around. And then, yes, if you can afford to, and also it's that thing of just keep going until it feels right. You'll know, I think you know instinctively when the story flows. And if it feels too complicated and you're stumbling over it, it's probably because it is too complicated. So then you have to, that's when you have to step back, and occasionally you have to cut out bits that you might love, but they're confusing it a bit too much. But don't worry, because keep those bits because they will come in handy later on.
Can you think of one fun or silly thing you love to do in the summer at all?
Just one. I mean, there are so many, aren't there? Well, do you know what? In the summer, when the sun is shining and the sky is blue, I think, I think it's quite sensible, but you might think it's silly. Roller skating down the seafront with at least some chips, possibly an ice cream as well. There we go.
I think that's a good one. You need both the balance, isn't it? That's why, isn't it? You've got to balance yourself. I mean,
it's all right. You're right.
I know. You can call it green.
That on my
it's
head,
actually balanced. Listen, good luck with Mr. Big Fluff Rules, Sophie. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and have a wonderful summer, whatever you're doing. Obviously, roller skating is going to take most of it, along with chip eating and ice cream eating at the same time. So listen, lovely to have her back on the show again. Round of applause, Sophy Henn. And big up Mr. Big Fluff, or maybe a big blue from Mr. Big Fluff, or who knows. Thanks, Sophie. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So thanks to Sophy Henn there, and thanks to all my guests today. Thank you for watching, your teachers, for beaming you into your school. We've covered a lot today, but I hope it's given you lots of inspiration to get reading. There's all sorts of books there for your interest, some sort of fun and adventure to nature books, all kinds of stuff there. Been a brilliant bunch today. Hope you've enjoyed the show as well. And as always, it's time for me to say goodbye. My name is Mr. Dilly. Thanks for watching Mr. Dilly Meets. And it's goodbye from me. And of course, it's goodbye from me. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.